What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking about 10 new releases that I think are just so damn good that you owe it to yourself to get samples, try them out, go to department stores for certain cases with some of these designers and get your nose on them. You owe it to yourself. If you're a fan of perfumery and you're looking for something new to potentially add to your collection, these are 10. Not the only 10, but the 10 I decided were worthy of speaking on the most in this particular topic. So let's talk about them. Stay tuned. Now, admittedly, this is kind of difficult to find. It doesn't stay in stock in a whole lot of places, but it's one of the better releases of the year. This is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Paradise Garden. So what's different about this one from the other versions of Le Beau, it still has that citrus, coconut, tropical feel to it, but here it's a lot greener. There's a bit of an earthy ginger tone here that doesn't make it super spicy, but adds this earthy green tone. Very, I guess, gardens fitting in some ways because it doesn't add much of a floral component, but it has this grassy green feel to it that kind of enhances the freshness, makes it very spring appropriate, but it still works perfectly fine in the summertime because at its core it's still a coconut tropical fragrance, so obviously very summery, but this one's even more spring appropriate than the other versions. Above average performance. This is just a great release for them. This line continues to impress me, and that's Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Paradise Garden. Now, the best way I could describe this one, because it's like my second favorite release of the year, is fire roasted, like wood fire grilled would be the best way to put it. Wood fire grilled pineapple and mango. Interesting, right? There's a finger lime note here. There's this toasted coconut and driftwood kind of. It's an odd combination, but City Rhythm Fragrance Puerto Rico is a certified banger. This stuff is impressive. It is very strong without being overwhelming. It maintains this airy freshness, but super long lasting and is a deeper overall scent because of the oil concentration. I don't know what creates this wood fire grilled accord other than they have a toasted coconut note that I'm not familiar with. It's weird. And driftwood. There's no like incenses or fiery notes of any kind that would make you think that. So that's what I come up with. But it literally smells like taking sliced pineapple, mango, and just fruit, just a variety of fruits really, and throwing them over a wood fire grill. It's got the fire, smoked wood chips kind of smell going on for it. It is so impressive. It's such a tropical blend. Tropical meets a fire pit. You know what I mean? It's very, like, impressively odd, I think would be the best way for me to put it. So sample worthy. I think it's like $7 or $8 to get samples on their website, which is linked down below. Try this fragrance if you want a different take on pineapple and coconut. It is not run-of-the-mill. It is not, falling into a theme of other pineapple and or coconut-based fragrances. It is definitely doing its own thing and totally worth checking out. What a great release. It's Puerto Rico from City Rhythm. Now, I'm going to tell you this is one of the 5 best designer releases of the year. The internet's going to tell you otherwise. Don't believe either of us. Believe me over them. Don't believe either of us. Go to a department store and spray it on your skin and be your own judge with Acqua Profondo Parfum. I think this is such a good release. I really do. Amber Aquatic. They brought back the magnetic cap. Yay. It loses the mineral notes and the green components of the original. So if you were a big fan of those elements, there's that. Okay, I'm not going to say it's going to be a disappointment because it's not. I don't think it is. You still have the citrus, the orange, the mimosa note. You have the aquatics. It still smells like Profondo, but the labdanum note here is more of an ambery smell than a leathery type of smell. That's why I say amber aquatic. It's richer, smoother, more approachable, more refined than Profondo. It's really, really good. I always love Profondo Lights as the best smelling of the versions they've put out because of the enhanced greenery to that one. It's not as sharp in the opening, but this is just straight up smooth. And you lose the mineral notes in the green, the rosemary and stuff like that. You lose that, but it gains that warm richness to go with that just saltwater marine accord that this line is known for, especially the Profondo flankers specifically. I think it's so good. Great longevity, not super strong projection, kind of average stuff. It wears a little closer like most parfums will when it comes to designer fragrances. get out and try this one. It is phenomenal. It's Acqua Profondo Parfum. So if you're looking for an enjoyable, mouth-watering, niche citrus fragrance, you're going to want to check out Escandalo, the newest release from Day 3 Fragrances. Day 3, Mike is always putting out magic. Bani is still my favorite, the mango papaya fragrance, but this is a close second. This overtook the coffee fragrance La Tacita de Café as my number 2 from the brand. It's a nice contrast to the underlying fruitiness of Bani, whereas this is more citrus, fresh, watery, a little herbal, a hint of florals. It's just a fresher overall profile while still having great lasting power and an overall natural smell. Though there is some synthetics in here, but there's also some naturals. High quality oils. The oils are sourced from one of the top perfume flavor houses in the country, in the world, because they're all across the world in different locations. This is sourced from Mont. Mont, for those of you not familiar, a lot of the top tier brands, especially in niche perfumery, use Mont, Givaudan, places like that, but the oils come from Mont, so I know firsthand this is some quality stuff, because these 2 fragrances right here, the oils come from Mont. Well, that whole shelf, that's a Zaharoff shelf, but those 2 fragrances I point out are my 2 collaborations with Zaharoff. Really, really, really good stuff. If you're looking for a citrus fragrance that's not run-of-the-mill, it doesn't smell like all the rest of them. It's not just some grapefruit bomb with a little bit of woods and musk. There's depth here. It's rich. Like I said, a little bit of herbal tones, a little bit of florals, a beautifully watered citrus, just juicy, make your mouth water kind of stuff with great staying power. Check out Escandalo from Day 3 Fragrances. Now, admittedly, when I first smelled this, I was kind of like, it's okay. It smells like minty fierce. And then it became more like minty Percival. Like the quality comes across a little bit better. And just the more I smell it, I'm like, yeah, minty Percival. I'll be damned, it does work. So they have this spearmint note with Legend Blue from Montblanc. And it still smells like Legend, which smells like Fierce, Percival, all those. It's all the same profile. Musky, woodsy, that cologne smell. But minty. Dry down's great on this one. Lavender, some green tones from moss and mint. Very much like a classic barbershop style fragrance, meets minty green, meets kind of that muskiness of Percival and Fierce. It's actually really good. The first time I smelled it, I was like, it's okay. But boy, I spent a little time with it, and it's one of those that just started growing on me quickly. You got to spend more than one spray with this one and get to know it, because it's kind of easy to fall for. It really is great everyday fragrance, especially if you like mint. You have to like mint because you get a lot of synthetic spearmint in the opening, but it's a pure joy. It's not too toothpastey bubblegum type of spearmint. It's more, I guess, leans more, if I had to pick one, more towards toothpaste, but it's not off-putting like that, I promise. It's actually really well done. They did a great job. They always put out pretty good flankers in this line, but this is actually a really good flanker in this line. Under the radar, underappreciated release for this year. You should try Legend Blue. Now this one surprises me greatly because it transitions very different from what you get in the opening. It's a fresh, powdery, floral like vanilla. And it becomes more of an aquatic musk, deep dry down. It's Sphinx Fragrances Cairo Nights. I wore this one literally last week at the recording of this, when I traveled to Louisiana for my second trip to Louisiana. It's so good. It's climbing up the ladder from the brand for me. Like, I really think it's top 3 from the house. Like, Mangolicious Hippie Storm and Sphinx Elixir are still my 2 favorites. Black Anubis is bumped all the way down to 4 because of this one. Because Mangolicious Hippie Storm just kept climbing and climbing for me. Obviously a tropical fruity floral. Beautiful fragrance. It's pretty much my number 1 now. Like, that's my favorite from Sphinx. Sphinx Elixir is my number 2. This is my number 3. With Black Anubis being number 4. I say these names because any of you familiar with the brand or familiar with how I feel about their fragrances know of these fragrances specifically. I might be speaking foreign to a few of you, but totally worth checking out. It's actually a fresh powdered vanilla, a little touch of fresh spice. You have some fresh florals that add to it, white floral tone, but then it transitions greatly into this aquatic musk as you get into the deep dry down, and it stays that way for a long time. You lose the powdery notes, you lose the sweetness, and it becomes all about this aquatic ambergris-like musky tone. It's actually really, really well composed, a big hit in this household. I'm a fan. My wife is a big fan of this one on me. Great performance. The quality here is top tier, as with all the Sphinx fragrances. It's definitely a release that's worthy of trying this year. It's Cairo Nights from Sphinx. Now, the only reason this hasn't been in the rotation is I just think it's a little too heavy for the summertime, because we are full-fledged summer weather, but that doesn't change that Boss Bottled Triumph Elixir's a great release for this year. So it does have a freshness to it as compared to the regular version of Boss Bottled Elixir. This violet leaf smell that gives it this aquatic metallic feel, but it's still an overall heavy resinous incense fragrance, and I think it's better suited for the fall. I don't think you necessarily have to have cold weather with it like you do with Boss Bottled Elixir, whereas that needs the cold weather. I think with this one, you can have warmer situations, but not high heat humidity like I'm in right now. This is still just too much. It's a very powerful fragrance, and it's got some heavy notes to it. Like I said, resins, incense, even a little touch of a leathery, ambery facet to it that I do get in the dry down. But that violet leaf really makes it shine. It gives it this slight petrol, but more so metallic aquatic tone early on. I think it gives some really good added nuance to this fragrance because it is true to Boss Bottled Elixir. It's a true flanker. Interesting name, but I think it's a better spring fall fragrance than it is summer overall. So it's been shelved lately, but it deserves being talked about. This is impressive. This is worth checking out. It's a little on the powdery side. It's not too smoky for being based around resins and incense, but it's worth checking out. It's Boss Triumph Elixir. And speaking of Hugo Boss, some things have not changed. Boss Descent Elixir. Try this. It's still my favorite release of the year as far as designers. It's my favorite designer release. It hasn't been topped yet. I haven't gotten Spice Bomb Dark Leather yet, because I feel like that's the one that can come for the designer throne for this year's release. Just based off what I know, because last year my favorite designer release was Infrared Eau de Parfum. And before that came out, my favorite release was Boss Descent Magnetic. So it's been neck and neck 2 years running. For early in the year, I get the Boss Descent Flanker, and it's my favorite designer release all the way until the second half of the year when we end up getting the Spice Bomb Flanker, and that ends up being my favorite. So they always end up being my 1 and 2, so I have a feeling that's what's going to happen again this year, but it hasn't been toppled yet, and it's absolutely worth checking out. So red pepper spice, it's pimento, I believe is the note. Nice and woodsy, vetiver-like dry down, but the Meninka here is not just the sweet, fruity type that's typical for all of the flankers here. It does offer a little bit of a warm, boozy feel that comes across in this fragrance with great performance. Very cozy. Obviously not good for this current weather, but definitely worth checking out. Boss Descent Elixir. Powdery fresh, sweet and spicy. Smells like the original, just fresher, much more powdery. You add some florals here. So the most wanted, EDT Intense. Nobody talks about this one. I don't think it's better than the black bottle, which it does smell similar to. The original, the most wanted. That's still my favorite of the three, because you got the most wanted Parfum, you got the EDT Intense here, and then you have the most wanted Intense EDP, technically. Added freshness, powdery nuance, kind of smells like iris. I don't even remember if iris is actually in the note breakdown, but it has this powdery iris smell to it, while still having that toffeed sweetness, cardamom spice DNA of the most wanted. I think it was a great release for them. I think it's one of the 5 best designers released this year. I think you should try it. It's going to get cheaper. It's going to become more and more readily available from discounters, but go somewhere to design, a department store that has Azzaro fragrances and get your nose on this. If you like powdery and you like the previous 2 entries in the most wanted flanker, because most wanted is kind of a flanker to the wanted line, you should really try this. Most wanted EDT Intense. And last but not least, my favorite fragrance released this year. I don't think that's going to change. I just don't see anything topping it, including another fragrance coming from this brand later in the year that's basically a pink pepper aquatic. A sweet pepper aquatic is the way I'm going to classify Seraphim Red, which is the next release. But we're talking about Zaharoff Signature Seraphim Blue. Powdery iris, wintergreen fresh. I never put that big of a dent in a fragrance in 6 weeks. It's been out 6-7 weeks. It's crazy. Powdery iris, breezy aquatic, slight creaminess from some coconut. Some people seem to get more coconut than I even get. It offers a nice creamy nuance to me, but the wintergreen minty freshness, crisp at the top. The apple doesn't really make it all that fruity. It adds a crispness to it. Cypress and eucalyptus, this minty green feel with the lavender. Nice and aromatic, bright, not too soapy. You get some nice musk, a little bit of sweetness. There's depth here. There's nuance. It's grown man, high quality type stuff. Blue. This isn't designer Macy's blue, guys. So I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I don't categorize it as blue. I don't see how you call it blue. Why is it called blue? You got to get out of Macy's with your mindset. Get out of Macy's. It's not YSLY. It's not Bleu de Chanel. It's not Sauvage. It's not Ferragamo Acqua Cinzia Blue. It's not Dylan Blue. It's not that kind of designer synthetic blue. This absolutely fits. It's the proper classification. You got to understand the brand, the method, the profile, the storytelling, the wearability factor. And yeah, it very much is niche level, unique blue. Not just clever color and name. Long lasting, not overwhelmingly strong. If you're mindful of the sprays, less is more. I find with this one, it is my favorite release of the year. Zaharoff Signature Seraphim Blue. Is that the only 10 that I think you should try this year as far as new releases? No, but it's the ones I wanted to highlight in this video that I think are so noteworthy. A lot of variety here between designer, independent niche, and so on. There's something for everyone here that offers a little something different for your collection that's not just layers upon layers of redundancy. I think they're pretty good. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. What have you tried of these 10 that I featured in this video? Are you familiar with any of them? What do you think? Were they underwhelming for you? Are you right on par with what I think, where there's just something people should try more of and give a chance to? Let me know down below. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 and give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. You never know. Have a good one, guys.